Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. We are Poetry Corner Westside Connections versus and Vibes. We have a couple of great poets with us tonight, and everybody is located in Los Angeles, California. I'm going to pass the mic to Evan Flo, and she's going to introduce our first guest. Thank you all for being here, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And we're going to jump right into this thing poetry, celebrating Black history. And our first poet up tonight will be Nomad, the poet. Welcome to the stage. Let us know what's going on with you. And then bless the mic, please.
Awesome. Hi, y'all. I go by Nomad the Poet. My name is Sekile. I am a LA native. I've been writing poetry since I was 5 years old. First published in 2005 in a celebration of young poets. I am currently right now in the CLI program, and they're helping me publish my third book. It's called Forged in Fire, Held in Love. It will be released at the end of this year, and I am also working on a film as well that goes out that coincides with the themes of rebirth and healing and growth. I'm also a filmmaker. You can find me at Sekile Odemo or at Nomad the Poet on Instagram. And right now, I'm gonna do my first poem. This was from my last film, The Sable Dragonfly, an ode to my Black female body, and this is called Black Girl Magic. In the celestial pools that reside within my hoops, I pluck an unsaid prayer from my teeth. It talks of the love that's embedded deep within my skin and the wisdom that is caught between my kinks. It sings praises of the meadows that reside where my thighs divide, calls my fields sacred ground, rebel diaspora that my people have bled. Whispers the longings of both the saint and the sinner, and how they pray late at night to swim with their divine. Ignorant to the light that lies behind my eyes. Whispers the longings of both the saint and the sinner, and how they confess they desire my temple be their next conquest. How they pray late at night to swim with their divine. Ignorant to the light that lies behind my eyes. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that piece. We really enjoyed it. So we're going to pass the mic to you, Mr. AJ. Welcome to the stage.
Your mic is off.
Right, right. Okay. Hello. Thank you for having me. How's everybody doing?
All well. We're all well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Everything is all right. Just I'm gonna do a piece called My Favorite Things. Coltrane's complete history of blow on my pod. My favorite thinging, Instagram and clubhousing with another room graced by God. Delve 12 deep into the iconoclast of brass and ivory and drips of savory saliva, sap from ebony and mahogany harmony. A part of me recalls the breakdance challenge in the empty park pool. I had the Suzuki gray and blue, finger rolling and jump hooking, buckets on the shirts crushing the skins crew. In Centinela, Rat Lift for Blackshaw said, "Yo, AJ, they want a battle." Bells ringing like Burger King cattle. I dropped the leather and put the pop lock routine set to 6 minutes together. And if it comes down to my Egyptian lover strobe light tick, or Eddie Brown with the windmill where he puts his hands on his dick, we got him. Our enemy did this cold move, and that was a move we never saw. But Larry Lock Wicked put the cigarette in his mouth, then flicked it back out. That amped us. We all brought our signatures raw. We shut that park down. And nary crew ever stepped in without the knowledge, knowing they'd get clowned. That was one of my favorite things. Eliminate punks, cut them up in chunks. LL was bad. Fab Five, Dr. Dre and Ed Lover. Gary was the videographer for Pump It Up with D. Barnes before he became F. Gary Gray. And our breakdance crew would say, hey, my nigga director set it off on Friday right there. For all the LA folks, in 1984, Jesse still strengthening our hopes. While the Olympics were up in the hood, the USA had the Earth on Monster kill. Jackie Joyner, the Air Jordan, the Air Moses, the Holyfield. And if I wanted to fuck the police, it was NWA. But if I wanted to protect my peeps, I exclaimed it up with Funkin' Brother Jay, Big Daddy Kane to Kwame, Biz Marquis, the Young MC to Mo D. We had a healthy balance in like a two-parent household. Hip-hop held both sides and promptly raised us well. That was one of my favorite things. Alphabet Kids in the lockers, up in the jungle at 4040 Coco, Penguin, Shabba-Doo and Slim showing up at the Soul Train Get Down with Glow Baby, my mama Keita, Choice Set, rocking steady and readily throwing down. The pool was always dirty with the falling palm tree leaves inside all the time, but with the lights underneath, it was cool enough to swim. The ice cream man sold more than your typical ice cream, you did? And that jingle, you better try Fatback or KC and the Sunshine Band. Did I mention that the ice cream man would be on 4040 Coco 2 in the morning? Shit. Chili cheese Fritos, melted cheese, and a scoop of chili in a variety bag, and the tiny little breakable plastic fork. Eating everything in the book that was man-made, but first start off by asking, is that pepperoni considered pork? That was one of my favorite things. Celebrating my birthdays at all the fast food joints. I knew mama was a pimp because she was shutting McDonald's down in LA for AJ the Bebe or at Shakey's Pizza, where it would be my party, but nothing but adults in the way. Hey, where the kids at, mama? And she would say in front of the preposition at to correct my grammar. See, she wanted me to speak perfectly, so if life led me downhill, I'd be the most eloquent nigga in the slammer. You see, that was one of my favorite things. Having movies and books, one-man stage plays, diatribes, soaking up sacred space vibes, and one-night excursion and going on a I got a story to tell audio clip sermon. Every breath drawn is the most bomb production. And all of y'all I got a low-key, healthy type love for. And multiple medias is my international introduction, and that's just a few of my favorite things. One of my favorite things. Mama. You don't know how deep the parent gig is until you accept yours. The skill of her making a deal and only showing me the prize winning doors was more brilliant of an art than Sun Tzu's entries on war. She did fight. She does fight. She was a general in both in hind and divine sight, and having hit a heavy, brave-hearted hip-hop revolutionary as your chief of staff that's just as quick to kick your ass, but with a queen's prestige and an aura of class. You can never be fulfilled in love or life if there was anything more a child could ask. And for that, my mama is one of my favorite things. And the task to keep your life in order and navigate quadruple versions of you, yet smaller and shorter. To be as well placed and as cool as I, homeschool 4 jewels, plus bust this lyrical beauty on the fly is a gift I will forever glorify. So much love and promise in those little packages. I protect them, cherish and study, kiss and hug, never forget to listen. I pray now more than ever before, and I give them what my mama gave me, but then bless them with the very vision a strong man should be. I don't worry. Just stay still and know this here time is the most meaningful and impactful for the rest of their ever-loving mind. And those little mixed behinds are 4 of my most favorite things. And there's so much more to have as we've only just begun, right?
Righteous. That was
Deep.
beautiful. That was so beautiful.
It was. Thank you so much
Every
for that
week, you
piece.
just come with the fire every time you come back. And I hope that my children will write about me so eloquently as you have your mother and spoke so beautifully of your four boys. We salute you, King. Much love and life for that piece. Thank you so much. Thank you. And next we have Shisa. I don't want to mess it up. Give it to me one more time, Queen, and I promise you I'm gonna nail it for the rest of the night. But welcome to the mic. Welcome to the mic.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Chisaroku, and you can find me at Live Joy Well or at Nigel on Instagram. I am a poet, an actor, a healthcare futurist, which basically means I envision a healthcare system that works for everybody, especially those who look like us. I am an MD, but I don't practice anymore because I want to create art. So I'm going to read some poems. Oh, and I do have a book. Oh my God, that
I was about to say, don't pass that up. The book is right here.
Andrea, thank you.
Yeah.
I published that back like, oh my God, it's almost 10 years ago with poems from like age of 16 to like 25, you know, just in that moment of transition in life. And, you know, you can get it on Amazon. You can go to my website. It's easy to find. Once you get to IG, you can click all the links. You'll find me there. Yeah, I'm just thankful for this space. Drea, thank you so much. And the serendipitous way we met, like, I'm just grateful. So the poem that I'm going to read is called 10 Moments Last Summer. And it first appeared in the Berkeley Poetry Review. And tonight I'm reading it in honor of Tyree Nichols and every human ever dehumanized at the hands of trigger happy law enforcement. It is written after one of my fave writers, Audre Lorde, Sister Lorde, from her essay, Apartheid USA, which was written in 1985. So just so y'all know, all the words that are in this poem came from that essay that she wrote in 1985. So it's a little bit of a found, but also an homage to her. 10 moments last summer. 10. Granny's on the stoop, waiting for the fire to come. 9. And the bully boys stick together talking their rot. Their sense of urgency is fire and shots. They own these streets on a technicality. So what? 8. Granny is in her garden listening to the moon talk about cities of gold. 7. Summer is a teenage dream lulled to sleep by fire, and even if the moon's eye be the sign of hope, nothing comes. No one comes. 6. State of emergency, euphemism for Black boys listening to music, Black girls reading a book, and the whole world drinking a can of Coca-Cola. 5. Fellas with gleaming white teeth look at us square and give us a remedy wet with blood. This is privilege. 4. Humanity can go destroy itself now. 3. The Brotherhood of Fire listens to music while considering the destruction of Africanness. Fire is another kind of privilege. 2. Granny knows the hope of Black boys and girls is one more summer moon on the stoop making cities of gold in their minds, yet now only the dead line her dreams. 1. She eyes the firemen guarding the charred remains. They refuse to leave. Bully boys sticking together, talking their rot, while a summer of Black children burn in the streets and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful piece. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna pass the mic to you, Miss Drea.
Okay. So I met her at the Sims Library of Poetry. She came in with this big, beautiful smile, wonderful spirit, and she was so welcoming to everyone. We took a few photos. I bought her book and everything, and I've been reading it, and it's so enlightful. I really appreciate your words, and I wanted to wait to after this moment to really showcase, your book on my page and everything, because I wanted people to see you, right, and make and say your poems, and so they could just feel you.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate
love.
your book, and thank you so much for joining us today. Next up to bless our mic is Nomad the Poet, who's also a beautiful poet. She is in Alex Petunia's class. I went to Alex Petunia's show, and she was one of the features, and she just did an amazing job. I just loved her performance, and I just ran after her. I was like, "You're not leaving, right? You got to come on my show." And so she agreed, and she's here. So bless our mic.
Thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to be reading one of the poems that I read that night.
Okay.
Just a little heads up, this poem does talk about, it's a beautiful poem. It's one of my favorite new poems that I've written. It's a healing poem talking about my journey of healing and finding love after experiencing sexual violence and assault. So just a content warning. This is track 5, To Pimp a Butterfly. If these walls could talk, if these walls could talk, if these walls could talk.
She froze.
The
Yes, she
first time a
froze.
man touched me. Symbols, sounds. Can you hear me? I was an age where numbers were symbols, sounds unknown to my mind, gigantic. Hands chapped from the trauma his father afflicted with no salve, but an ABV percentage of 40 or higher to comfort his night terrors. Gigantic. Hands who communed in the same way with my mother to create the seed from which I sprouted, chose to steal my innocence as a sacrifice for his suffering. Wasting into the generational traumas our ancestors prayed for him to heal instead. He polluted the soil in my garden, ripped out potential, and ejaculated my grandfather's trauma onto my face, my chest, my bed. If these walls could talk, they'd censor the second time a man touched me, tricked into a room under false pretenses on the eve of a great aunt's funeral and my 10th birthday. Let's go grab the Xbox. I got a new game to show you. Happy birthday. Family ties into trauma and trauma ties into the family. His hands were laden with a white man's greed that sold him off centuries ago and dehumanized his women after. So it does not surprise me that I was left face down in shame as he left satisfied. If these walls could talk, they'd cringe at the third time a man touched me. Too timid, too terrified, too trifling and tone deaf. He made up for his shortcomings by driving me around Los Angeles in busted cars. First Bertha, then Sally. We'd sing with abandon on our way to tequila slick dance floors, our only refuge in a cage of anxiety and sexuality, confusions and explorations. I have your love now, but I'd be so lucky to love you in 5 years' time. Just give me time. He couldn't lose the love that he was getting, nor could he give me the love that I was receiving or that he was receiving. So he toyed with my emotions in a 525,600 minute times 3 cat and mouse chase. If these walls could talk, they'd smile at the first time a woman touched me. Made out as an enemy of state by the men that came before her, my hands dug out the muck and the mire of my soul to find the honeysuckle dandelions of serenity within her. Me. Her fingers danced along my skin, connecting scar lines to paint an abstract masterpiece. Peace became tranquility after pain relinquished its cruelty, healing. With her, I began healing. With her, I learned releasing. If these walls could talk, they'd laugh with delight from the fourth man who touched me, the last man who will ever touch me. They'd sing the psalms I've transcribed in the twilight hour, written to the rhythm of his resting heart rate, sleeping next to mine. Bless his hands and breathe relief because his divine, masculine, fluid, gentle, and strong met my divine, feminine, fluid, graceful, and resilient in a moment greater than passion, in a moment deeper than lust. In a moment of collision after a decades-long gravitational pull led to our soul's inevitable amalgamation in the concert hall of praise, we found love. He came to me as an unexpected consequence of EMDR work and Ashanti breaths. He came to me as a friend of a friend who grew into a home. He came to me as an angel number 1111. A reminder of the work manifested. His hands release the binds that cramp my vertebrae. His tongue, a gentle balm to the past torments. His body tames the wild that flares in the night. If these walls could talk, they tell the world that healing is possible, that the kindling of a broken past can breathe life to the warmest fire and everlasting flame, that that flame can become a hearth, and that hearth can bring you purpose. They'd encourage the hurting, the meek, the lost, the broken. Tell them my story, for I am a prophet for healing. If these walls could talk. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that piece. The second time. The
Yeah, that was
second time.
beautiful.
It hit different. That was beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Up next to bless our mic is one of the best that has ever done it, AJ Wan. He came on here the first time. He was playing at first,
Right.
right? Ebb and flow got it out of him, though, right? There was going back and forth, and he brought it
He
every
keeps
single
bringing it.
time he comes on. He brings it. Bless our mic one more. Bless our mic again this round.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. That piece was heavy, Nomad. I wanted to take a little bit more of a breather to just let it hang a little bit for us to be able to really absorb how heavy it is to be able to articulate trauma when it sits in you all the time. You know,
I
it
appreciate
really
you.
it's a heavy situation. So I respect you for being open enough to deliver it to us. Uh, this piece, uh, Miles Davis is one of my favorite inspirations for poetry. I know he does music, but there's poetry in his music. He did a concept album called Aura, and in it he did a track that represented every color, each color in the color wheel. So I took each color in the color wheel and brought what my representation of that color is in poetry. And I'm going to do orange for the prison system. One of the biggest contradictions is the invention of extended detention for violation of the penal system. You hear mention of war rules called the Geneva Conventions. Images taken from the humiliation grave of Abu Ghraib with no remorse reflects our corporal accommodation, which is Hubert Humphrey bogeyed. That's over par for the course. As far as the Bay of Guantanamo, there's an equivalent hallway in every state pen inmates wallow. The law is a wall that's rebuilt brick by brick, basted with spackle that won't stick. A fingerprint is a detriment and felony's a shackle you don't kick. Inhumane treatment of humans treated as animals is some shit that should make Peter sick. B.B. King is singing The Wheel is Gone because inadvertently you're unwillingly forced to strip and dip like a B.B. Queen. Some say it's the price you pay when you disobey running after that electric red, blue, or green. And for those who don't dig the scene, they believe all convicts should be road committed until your ass get admitted. As experience derogatory, degradative, a mental fist fucking unlimited. Embarrassed to cop a squat in the first 48, you ain't shitted. It's really real, son. When it's a loved one sent spending a dime to a quarter, bid it. Serial number represents and replaces a name that erases the life you once visited. Now you mass-produced, warehoused, and introduced to emasculated manhood, Grey Goose with both cannons unloosed. Freedom's revoked, communication is broke, outside world extracted from the chicken bones that's choked. Ambidextrous lynching is fatal, a carbon copy to hope that is ripped from the being, as certain as emotions go uncontrolled, and what leads must bleed, violence we will be seeing, and it won't ever be curbed. Whether justice is an unjust injustice that the meek is served. Prison is a militaristic system training civilians to ineffectively deal in cynicism and recidivism. Translation: soon come livestock operations incorporated into expert criminalization. That means we Americans are too blind to find the crime included in the word and the act of discrimination. Survival of the unfit breeds culprits of circumstantial situations. Corruption erupts so tough and organized Wall Street banging. Local precincts and administrations in the hat pick a name. Who set you claiming? I took a plea to relieve a felony into a misdemeanor, which renders a rap no cleaner, because you forever have on record the print of my finger. And in the back of the medulla, it's crystal clear how the ruler gets longer and thicker and meaner. It's murderous to master the art of isolation and explicitly prohibit rehabilitation, that pen legislation to make states pay to Walmart incarceration. Sides don't play fair either way, suspect or victim. And you can flip a coin on the day. You may be tagged as both many times before you lay. Orange is said to be the jumpsuit color, bright enough to catch you running away. HBO, CNBC, National Geo glorify the life to the youngins running scared, straight, and in disarray. And we got the pants at half mast giving easy access to the crack of that ass. And some think this is fashionably masculine today. And hip hop who raised for the homies on lockdown. It's better to squad up and shake shit to keep trials legitimate, just to prevent Judge Joe Brown from dropping that hard rock down. If Sean Carter runs for Senate and Sean Combs files for office and campaigns to win it, and Lil Wayne flip-flopped his lollipop, swagged his swag to drag new spit in it, y'all know there would still be molestation, homicides, robberies, rapes, money laundered, beating, cheating, stealing, lying, perversion, obstruction, defacing of property, slander of character. Everybody's hurting. Until the shift of power represents the fate and face of the people. This will unfortunately be the norm. In reality, regarding the prison system, we should abort all reform because physics teaches us 360 is full circle, but 180 is reborn. What is orange to you?
Yeah. Fire.
Yeah, that was real
really
deep.
deep.
I guess orange is the new black, right?
Yes.
When you tap in.
That code?
Yes.
Trip, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else.
Yeah. Great metaphors.
It's the new black.
That was real dope indeed. Well, it's been a blessing already. The mic is on fire. These poets are bringing it. It is deep, making you think, right? And we love it. So we're very grateful for all of you thus far, and we'll circulate the mic again. So, Miss Drea, who we want to pick up next?
Ebb and flow.
Oh, ebb and flow. Here we go. Okay.
Here we go.
We need the host to, we need
Okay.
the host to start going.
What'd you say?
We need the hosts to start going, please.
Thank you. Here you go, calling us up to the mic once again, Mr. AJ. But you know, I will take your invite. Thank you so much. So this is a short story. It's called Crooked Smiles. This upper gap came from my father. You know, the one in between my front teeth. It's just about the only thing he's given me that lasts longer. Excuse me. It's just about the only thing he's given me that lasts longer than the memories slowly dissipating, slipping into darkness. Here I sit in light underneath the dentoscope, nestled in the chair. The lower one, 2 teeth to the right, came from my mother. I learned that gaps were hereditary almost 20 years after braces, 1 month of retainers, and a lifetime of shifting. back and forth, to and fro, just like my teeth. Up until that day, I would never see my parents the same. My eyes now seen worthy specimens to study under microscope every chance I get from now on. At first glance, my discovery proved positive. Mommy had one on the bottom, Daddy's was the prominent one. In between, leaving me pondering. I needed to really know them in order to truly know me, all of them that they could offer. I needed to know me. I studied to show thy self approval. The dentist walks in and tells me more about myself in 5 minutes than I've known my entire life. Literally blew my mind. So which one of your parents have the gap? Neither. Impossible. You got this gap from somewhere. One of them has to have one. I'm pondering hard. No, I can't see either of them with one at the moment. The dentist laughs. Look a little harder, she says. Me and deep thought self says and dig a little deeper. My quest began with the physical eye, a very minute understanding, a small comprehension, and a sigh. I had set out on a journey of the unknown in hopes of discovering self and how the gaps in between had come to be. To know thyself, that is the question. A blessing when the dentist proved right. Both had gaps, in fact, one of which kind of complemented the other. I wonder if they noticed. I'm sure my mother had. She had gotten me braces just as soon as the insurance allowed, said we'd have to hurry in case it ran out. My mother was never one to sit around and wait. She was more like a seize the moment kind of woman. Me, a procrastinator in my birthright. I'm guessing that's hereditary too. Because I'm still waiting on my dad to come back. Not home because where is that? But back to me, back before the gaps discovered us lost at the crossroads. That braces could not connect. It was his wife's insurance that proved to finally give back. I mean, after all, my dad had been raising her children, in fact. So much so that he forgotten how to pick up phones that called bedrooms of telephones that never lit up in the dark and rang on loud ring over Tupac blaring in headphones. Around 3:30 on early days, like old days and times where I could rewind my tape, hoping the ribbon didn't break. Fragile like my soul when he didn't come home to me. But one thing remains, this gap is here to stay, and the return is history. I wire braces for days and nights and cry tears and pain till braces was my name. And silver dusted smiles was my game. My orthodontist Cappy Baker says straight white teeth will be my game. Who knew what I had to give up? You see, I'm no stranger to new things and old things and dissipating daddies, a sin that after 5 years of chain and links and wax, that my retainers are thrown away accidentally in less than a month, leaving gaps to return where they once were, but now permanently. And me smiling and watered smear mirrors, well, as before, I hated the gap staring back. Cried while I sucked hot tea and humming and honey with fresh lemon juice through a little warmth to soothe my soul. Sipped through this generational hole and inherently missing daddies, praying for no more gaps are in between. It's just me, staring in this dirty mirror, trying not to scream because all I see is he staring back at me, but never smiling. Maybe that's why I've been left in the in between, reflecting everything I am to be, but afraid of the eyes staring back at me. I must have seen gaps that braces could not link long before she finally got a job that paid off or before my daddy ran off, promising he was just a call away, less than a 15-minute drive, but a million miles in between, returning back home to me, never. forever. I am changed. And after 5 years, the braces could not display a smile perfect like he appeared to be. And when he came on Saturdays to pick me up, I had already been dropped off in chairs that reclined so far back until I was in a lying position, looking up at ceilings, blinded by lights, while the dentist checked fillings. Little did she know I had left those in black bags like the ones he used to carry until he remarried and the gap grew, returning back like it had never left, imperfect, just like my hero had proved to be. Crooked smiles always seem to make broken things complete, and so I smile and remember the part of you that is all mine, mine's to keep. The part of you that was planted in my genes. So now orthodontists become therapists, proving to rip you open and demand a healing, revealing that my mother's genes are strong, but my daddy's genes, those are the reason that I am scorned. Crooked smiles.
Yes, honey. Amazing. That was beautiful, Ebony.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. So I guess the mic's on me, right?
Yes, but let me formally introduce my sister friend, the best friends to the end with love and light. And she is the recruiter. She brings all of these dope poets to the mic tonight and every night, right? So I want to give it up to my beautiful queen, Miss Andrea Lee. Welcome to the mic.
Thank you so much for that introduction. So I never read this poem before. It doesn't have a title. Um, I experienced a lot of different things when I was working in different group homes with young women. So I share a lot of stories about their situations and what they went through. So this one is, I'm going to start. She awakened in pain, dry blood on her upper lip. It took what seemed like hours to pick herself off the floor. She began to crawl towards the bathroom, grabbed the door handle for support, stood up, walked to the mirror, and didn't recognize herself. Her face was black and blue, covered in dry blood. Head pounding, migraines. She ran a bath and sat in the tub until the water was cold. Ashamed to ask for help, tears fell from her face. That's when she remembered she was raped. Flashbacks of how it started. Blaming herself, she contemplated suicide, reached for the razor, and began to slit her wrists, believing that no one would miss her, so no one would care. Random thoughts went through her mind. No one would believe me. He did this to me. I didn't matter. I don't matter. I wanted it. I deserved it. I shouldn't have been at his home at 3 a.m. I knew that would happen. He raped me and took me home. I have to be careful. It's my fault. It's on me. And that's my piece.
Wow. Wow. That was a very deep piece, and it was a much needed piece. And it's speaking from the perspective of so many victims who feel that it is their fault when it is not. And it doesn't matter if you are there at 3 or 4. It doesn't matter if your dress is short and your lips are red. It doesn't matter if you walk with a sexy, tip. It does not matter what you do. It never gives anyone permission to violate you. So for every woman that is a victim, that is watching, that is with us, we send healing, love, and light to you. And we want you to know that it is not your fault.
It's
And
not your
you
fault.
still alone are enough. So thank you for that piece.
Thank you so much. And the mic's back on you.
All right. Well, thanks for passing the mic back to me after that beautifully deep piece. I really loved it. And so we're going to take it around again and we're going to go back to you, Miss Nomad, the poet.
All right. So, this next piece that I have is called Overlooking the Hurricane That Once Threatened My Existence. It's in 3 parts. Part 1, Eye of the Hurricane. As I battle an invisible current upstream, I take deeper breaths to ensure my survival from Category 5, 1,095 miles per hour gusts of life, eroding the remnants of who I was. She crumbles into sediments, becoming fossil artifacts later to be categorized as nostalgia. Part 2, Spiritual Warfare. I've been sleeping on a spiritual air mattress in borrowed rooms and office spaces, discovering the word home through mirror reflections and shadow work, finding balance in the warfare on faith and resilience. What doesn't kill me manifests so deep in knots, it scares the chiropractor every time he touches me. Part 3, Comfortable. But here, my love, here. Nestled in this interchangeable spoon under silk sheets, held in your arm, grounded in your breath, my roots hold firm on the foundations of growth. They reach up towards the light of us, of you, a star that rivals the sun, you. Here I find the strength again to continue. Here, my love, here I release on an 8 count. Life's humbling hurricanes, life's brutal gales that have swelled my lungs and bruised my chest for so long. I almost believe them a part of my anatomy. Here, my love, here. I don't need to battle an invisible current upstream because here, together, we glide on the currents with wings made of love above the bullshit, all the way up to the stratosphere. Here we smile. We smile. Because we now overlook the hurricane that once threatened my existence. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, we smile. We do.
Yeah,
Thank
some
you.
dope poets in here tonight.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we're gonna take it Chisaruko. Did I say it right? Look at Ab. Okay.
There we go. Look at it. Okay. All right. I wanted to say just real quick that on Saturday, the my Joy Well is hosting a creative writing workshop on the body as sanctuary, and we're going to be using some of the texts of Lucille Clifton, Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde to be generating some writing, poems, songs, whatever you have. So link is in my bio at Live Joy Well. And now I'm going to read a poem after Lucille Clifton called We Are Here Between. On the last day of the last century, a flock of geese was found dead along the banks of a near-frozen lake. Their damp-feathered corpses lay next to each other in the shape of an opaque white circle blending into the fallen snow. It was unknown what had led them to the lake, their cause of death, if they saw what was coming, what hand had placed them in such delicate order. The locals marveled at the photo of the deceased in the morning paper, debated if the gone geese were a sign of the coming season. For weeks, they sheltered their pets and children, kept rifles next to their bedposts, locked their doors until the first melt erased their memory of the fallen geese. By then, the geese had been removed and the pond tested for disease. None was found. They carried on again with the cooking and cleaning, commuting and conversing about geese and guns and rights to life. Meanwhile, in another town, in a classroom where a teacher has been teaching her students about the migration patterns of geese, law enforcement discovers their lifeless, bloodied bodies holding hands with each other as if in prayer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the next poet,
Mhm.
Alex Petunia, No Man's the Poet Teacher, says, so proud of you, powerhouse poet tonight.
Yay. That was nice. All right. So we're going to bring it back to you, AJ. Bless the mic again, please, King.
Thank you. Thank you. This piece, this piece is called "What Kind of Dream Is This?" Now, it was once said by an old OG, we need to cash a check on the Capitol in D.C. $250,000 for jobs and freedom to be. The debt is delinquent, relinquished by a dream for Emmett Till in Money, Mississippi as a young black teen. 28th day in the summer month of August carries historical theme. The very word august, descriptive of respect and lofty esteem. Emmett was in money. Martin was marching to Washington talking to money and security and stability and equality and humility. Emmett was chastised, terrorized, brutalized, martyrized by races so demonized in a Confederate South where hate crimes were legalized. A reverend from Atlanta, 8 years to the day, was ostracized on the prize viewed through his eyes. 2 months before, Medgar met fate from the same Mississippi hate. White was supreme. This was what sought a king to envision a dream. The movement started at expense of Miss Mamie, brokenhearted, open casket to disclose the ill of hateful bastards. Mississippi burning up the street to North Philly. Brotherly love was lost by black and blue, who popoed as gutterly thugs. 9 years after Till, a year after King on the Hill, North Philly turned Mississippi and gave blacks crooked letters and humpbacks under Ku Klux Klan crossfire. 365 prior, Dr. Martin gave no pardon to a nation based in segregation and discrimination. Preacher was power. Less than 5 years later, his life was taken. And so was ours. Civil unrest in the hundreds. Pride in the people was stunted. Brothers were endangered and the public's most hunted. King, Medgar, Malik Shabazz, plus both Kennedys down for the cause, all disordered by the court. What that dream looked like? The come up came up short. Chi-Town riots, not to confuse with 1919, but the one the day after King at Lorraine Motel in Memphis, insurrection and sickness. Leaders laid on backs, brothers on a blacklist. Ali stripped of his business to stack bread with black fists. What that dream looked like, huh? Did we advance? Or did we do more dance? No Man the Poet, Drea, Ebb and Flow. What that dream looked like? Did a fighter have to die for a predecessor to rise a mile high? 45 years after the dream and 45 before the rebirth of a king, the people accepted a people once so rejected. Barack Obama. Middle name, namesake to a Middle Eastern enemy of the state. Last name rhymed with the first name of another in the terrorist wake, Osama and Saddam. Now put into perspective Emmett and Trayvon. What world did they bomb? Killers walk free. That ain't a dream to me. The treatment given to the Obamas in the White House was 8 years of a nightmarish shame to see. Shit, that ain't a dream to me. Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, July 5th and July 6th, declaration to independently kill, just like Emmett Till. That ain't a dream to me. Died by a ruthless hand. Michael Brown, Sandra Bland. Taking these to observe. Freedom to be gainfully employed, but to stay in your place, boy, ploy is served. This was why a king was in Memphis. fighting for sanitation workers, unequal pay and unfair conditions. And this right warrants a murder. Threats warrants a kill. Hearsay is enough for a cap to peel. Same story, same song. You can keep your marbles wide shut because if this was a dream, I ain't gonna sleep long.
I'm through with the facts and education.
I'm speechless. You went everywhere. You took us there and back again.
Dope.
That was dope. Thank you so much for the knowledge. Thank you so much for
Yes.
just, speaking about things that need to be spoke about, that are still happening to this day. We still fighting. We still dreaming, you know what I mean? But we can't sleep, so how can we dream? So that was beautiful. I'll pass the mic back to you, Miss Drea.
Okay, the mic's back on me. We're gonna do another round, but I know y'all want to hear another piece from Ebb and Flow, huh?
Here you go. Here you go.
Yep, Ebb and Flow. There you go.
Since we were talking about, the injustices that we have faced as a people in This is Black History, I want to speak about what we're facing today in LA. All of us know about the gangs, and I'm sure all of us at least have one family member or have been affected by some type of gang violence. So this piece here, I wrote, or I don't write my poetry writes me, right? So this poem, it just came into my being, into my soul when I found out about PMV Rock being murdered at Roscoe's and Chicken and Waffles. And this poem is called Unconditioned Stimulus. It's a little graphic. What's your location? I promise I'll pull up to kill you, grab your chain and pop you, fuck off my entire life too. Where you at? I'm coming with the gat and a backpack full of pain. Shit, life been beating a brother down, man. What set you from? I claim gang bang on people who look the same as me, displaced and just trying to make it out of poverty. Mama crying and trying to collect money from a life policy. Now it's my day to meet the maker. Make sure that you don't forget to tell them where I'm from. They call me Mr. Baby Loke. I'm a Crip. And I ripped off my community. So dope to every Black person I could see. Not to mention, I don't claim or take care of my babies. But I'm crippin', so don't forget to pray for me. I push bloodline, so you gon' feel me. Sue bang clearly, but you can't see. We all bleed blue till somebody kills me too. I'm an OG. I taught the youngsters the rules to a game that I no longer play. Innocent bystanders get hit too. So what? They shouldn't have been in the way. Today was a bad day. I lost my burner on the way to commit another tragedy. Hood meeting called, now I'm politicking. Brothers keep missing the target. And bullets don't have no name. Just lost my son to the game, but it's still gang bang on mine. I decline your truce for peace. I ain't trying to see no red and blue make solidarity. Shit, I'm trying to lay down everything moving because I'm grooving this Hoover on mine. Forget a life sentence. I'll do the time and shine. Or the real niggas locked up anyway. I'm willing to die for this spit. Click, click, bang, bang. My pistol's loaded. And I'm coming for you. Not to mention constantly forgetting that I look just like you. And my daddy left too. And my granny gone. Nigga, fuck your soul. What set you on? What block do you stand on? We got everything in common, but I still kill you out in cold blood. What set you from? Where your mama live? Hold up. I know them, but you still gotta die. This Pasadena blood's on mine. I ain't from around these parts of town, you clown. My ghetto ain't look like yours. You don't know me, homie. I ain't from around here. But my pins sag low like yours. My rims scrape the same floor. My crip walk is just reverse. My turf, your turf. Let's not break the curse. You walk like me too, and you look just like I do. Chucking up gang signs, this Raymond on mine, you gotta die today. My baby mama told me what you had to say. Forget my hood, well, nigga, it's forget you too. Pull out my burner, left you stinking too. Proof that my black life don't mean a thing to me. I killed you, now the gun's pointing back at me. Unconditioned stimulus.
Drop the mic. I gotta pass the mic back to Nomad the poet.
Thank you. You both inspired me, so I'm gonna read one of the piece that kind of started me on my multimedia artist journey. I make visual chapbooks and post them online. This next poem is called Melanin Rich, and I wrote this the day that I found out that Trayvon Martin, his murderers got acquitted, and nothing happened to him. Or nothing happened to them. So this is Melanin Rich. This ain't your mama civil rights movement. This is me claiming my black body back movement, me unapologetically taking up space movement. This ain't your daddy's Negro saying, oh yes, sir. Oh, no, sir. I'll hang my head below yours, sir movement. This is I will not go quietly in the night movement. This is how are you gonna tell me that the police shootings that pop every other night ain't the new strange fruit movement. I dare you to look at me. I dare you to see a black woman, a human being, living and loving and hurting and learning, living. I dare you not to hypersexualize me. I'ma say it again. I dare you not to hypersexualize me. I dare you to see me throw up my hands in heavenly worship and not at the barrel of your gun with my hands up praying you don't shoot. I dare you to go against the images of people that look like me, the images the man controlling the strings has threatened or poisoned your mind with. I demand you listen to me. Listen to my mind and to my voice. I demand you respect me. Don't tell me that I'm articulate. Don't tell me that what I have to say is cute. I demand excellence from my country, my government. I demand excellence from my elders and my peers. I demand excellence from myself. This ain't your mama's civil rights movement. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you for
Yes.
that. I want to share another piece. I never read this one either. It's
Okay.
called By Design. Easily disposed of, no value, used, abused, tossed to the side. Playing dress up, 6-inch heels, short dresses, revealing all of you. All to do it over again the next day, and the next, and the next, and the next. How do you sell a human life and sleep well at night? Her entire life, she was told you're beautiful. Any man will be happy to have you. She was molded into be a servant, to rely on looks and use her body as a shared cost. Early in her life, her mother and aunts taught her to plan to be a bride before she even could drive. Living in a fantasy world, worshiping materialistic things, she was taught to be polite. Always hold your head up high with grace. Make him notice you. Be the baddest in the room. What a mistake. Her life shouldn't be easily disposed of, manipulated into thinking that you could put a price tag on her. Her mother died in an abandoned apartment building on the east side. Her aunt was hung in a crack house. Her family structure crumbled. She never really knew her father, but was shipped off to him because he was the next of kin. The system felt it was best to be reconnected with family. She had to pick up her life and move to an unfamiliar city. She took a 2-hour plane ride with a stranger who told her everything's going to be all right. This is what's best for you. The stranger introduced her to her estranged father and brothers. The first time she was raped, she was 12 by her older brother. She told her father after she was raped again by her other brother. Her dad smiled and said, "Now you're ready." She felt she had no choice. She put on the attire that was given to her by her mother, 6-inch stiletto heels, a short spandex dress, face full of makeup, and headed out to work the streets. This went on for what seemed like forever. No one asked her name, her age. One day she got tired and refused to work. They found her body burned in the middle of a parking lot late at night. Selling her a dream of what a beautiful life could be cost her her life. That's what the system would do to you. And that's my piece.
Wow.
Evan Flo, the mic's back on you.
So many girls lost in the system. It's just so sad. Thank you for
bringing. That's a true story.
Yeah, we can tell. We can definitely tell. Well, tonight has been remarkable. All the poems have just saturated my soul. I will not be able to sleep tonight, right? I'm just going to have all these poems in my mind just sitting on my soul, but in a good way. I'm so grateful to have been here with you guys tonight, sharing space and sharing poems. It's been lovely, right? And do we have another round? I think we have a time.
Yeah, we have another round.
Okay, so we'll do one more round of poetry. Sadly, right? We don't want to leave. But we're going to do another round of poetry, and we'll go ahead and go with Nomad the Poet again.
I just want to say thank you all so much for holding space for all of our words. I am so honored to be reading with y'all. I'm inspired by every one of you. Andrea, thank you so much for inviting me to this space. My last piece tonight is also a part of my book, Forged in Fire, Held in Love, and it's called Rainbow Cover, Black Spine. My skin is the hue of blue, royal, deep, and full, signifying the blood in my veins from the kings and queens I descend from. My hair is a luscious green, the color of our mother before man defiled her, ever growing and wild, untamed and soft with hidden secrets and mirth. My eyes bear a golden glow, luminescent and beautiful, timeless and strange, shining the lights of heaven to illuminate the night. My spine is a beaten black, muddied, bruised, and blocked, tender to the touch with footprint tattoos that decorate my decaying vertebra, grazed with the scraps from progression. All lives matter until you're the latter, black and female. But my skin is the shade of royalty and my hair is the shade of nature. My eyes are the sun and I'm still standing, lifting you up. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. That poem was the definition of a Black woman. After all we've been through, we still standing and lifting you up, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that piece. All right. So we're going to take it back to AJ. Come on through, AJ, and bless us again, please.
Sister girls speak poetry to me thoroughly. From the water flow of chromosome mitosis, the home of the embryo hostess, the fetus to the birth of the first baby to the cradle of life, you're more than able. A living legendary fable once told. Originality of civilization unfolds from your vessel, from the motherland with a mother's hand to mother man, kind, carefully, and lovely in your prime. Sister girls speak poetry to me, time by time. Sister girl, speak poetry to me. The boat ride over was so bumpy, for we were immune to the pain, blended by the blood stains, drained by the rain, rusting the raggedy chains, chained heavily to my agony of body and brain. The brother beside me died insane, inane, inhumane, arcane, and didn't even get a chance to be called by his new name. Sister girl, speak poetry to me, because there is no one to blame. On my very heavy shoulder, plantation hotter by the day, the night's much colder. I built strength by breaking boulders, while spirit was torn, tattered, and rotten. Broken soul shaking, just waiting and plotting, while I plant crops and pick cotton. I'm so sorry. I couldn't have gotten to the disaster grave master who had his prick in it for that same cotton picking minute. I apologize for not stopping the cries from your tearful, defenseless eyes as he bastardized your thighs. I prayed for the courage and bravery within me to send we into freedom, but all you seeing is savage semen from demonic demons. Evil's under the impression he's pleasing, and you under intense suppression, screaming. Sister girl, speak poetry to me. We'll roar into the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Lena Horne, she kept that weather stormy. Josephine was a baker that warmed me with sexy dancing and sultry singing, giving them all she could give them. And speaking of fabulous rhythm, you could catch Miss Ruth Brown and Lady Day in the Harlem's heart of town, stomping at the Savoy, jigging and flipping around. Finger wave girls and conch-haired boys trying to look like Sugar Ray. The Cotton Club might have had any given day the Count, the Duke, or Cab Calloway. Blue Note Jazz, Sarah Elliott, Carmen McRae, Village Vanguard heard a coal train dizzily blowing from miles away, and the rest would follow, and we'd all go crazy. Roll the A train to the Apollo to check out Mom's Mabley. Sister girl, speak poetry to me, baby. Sister girl, speak poetry to me, because they got me stuck on the back of the bus. Other than you, these lifetime scars and brutality bruises are all that shines. Standing in colored only lines, water holes when I march for mine. Gotta serve times and pay fines, vegetate as strange fruit while the states pardon the crimes. We could perform on your stage, but be banned from drinking the wine. And it's a trip just to get dumped like dirt, do all the groundwork, get tricked and hurt, and still be piss poor and flat broke. And another joke is when we assess questions of complexions on our kinfolk. If people have to follow when they're searching for a new leader, guess who that'll be, baby? Sister girl, speak poetry to me. Even though you may not want to or even understand, now they've put these psychological shackles and cuffs on your man. Gave me a gat. Forced me to fight with a hard hat and a soft, numb behind. Ass been whiplashed along with a once strong mind. So, sweetheart, continue to raise our children. I write you this letter hoping to make it better, wishing I could be home building with you instead of off in Vietnam killing folks who did me no harm. If only oppression had a face and a place to drop a H-bomb, I would be home now. Beside you and my mom, in the living room, on the couch watching the field call, holding my child, treasuring your timeless joy, contagious smile. I open my eyes to see the dream is unreal. I find myself on the front line as the main detective to the minefield. Well, honey, I think I just stepped on one of them. Because now I can see you in Junior, but you can't see me. Sister girl, speak poetry to me. And while you speaking, I'll be fixing the water faucet. It's been dripping and I've been slipping. I would love to bathe in your black power. It remains to reign supreme if men walk as kings and treat you as queens. The way we treat you is how we get treated by police, politicians, the prejudice during interviews and auditions, and by every judge. Why must we hold a grudge against the mothers of our land, calling them other than their given name? And men are bitches and hoes for raising their hands to hit, punch, smack, slap, or throw a blow. Stop carrying on, lying on, cheating on, and beating on our sisters like the disaster grave master at the top of the poem. No other bodies are to blame. Brothers, we must trust in us and own rather than play the game. To love, protect, and provide for the channel in which we came. Sister girls, speak poetry to me, as I too will do the same. Forever, even a little bit longer, I must stay more than just a little bit stronger to take care of self, you, the future seeds, proceed to lead, provide the feed. Aim to succeed and never fail, fall low, feel low, or live below any man or what disaster grave masters plan, because I got my own. Sister girls, speak poetry, believe in me, and never leave me alone. That's for all of you. That's for everyone
Thank
watching,
you.
Thank
and
you
that's for
so
all
much.
of you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right, right. My mother, that was my top level fan right there, and I would always get into. I wrote that piece about 25 years ago, and
Wow.
that's why I haven't read it in that long, but I used to read that to my mother, and she was like, "Son, you the best poet I ever heard." I said, "Mama, I'm gonna just take whatever the talents are that you instilled in me, and I'll continue it on. So even when you gone, I'm gonna keep it pushing." So I wanted to honor and close my piece out by saying thank you for inviting me and having me here. But I wanted to end it off in something that was reflective of my honor and appreciation for all of you and what you've gone through, what you succeeded from, your victories, your losses. You always gonna be a winner. So that's my dedication to all of you.
Thank you so much for that, AJ. We
Thank
really appreciate
you.
that. Your mother did a fine job. She did a fine job. We love it. And we are so grateful for who you are and that you are a Black man that protects and serves his women, right? And we really appreciate that. We don't need the po-po because we got AJ, right? So we love you for that. We really are grateful for those words. I mean, I'm just filled. I'm filled to capacity. It's just beautiful. It's been beautiful. All right. So enough of me. Chisaruko, back to you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Oh my gosh. Y'all have been amazing, and I really appreciate being here with y'all tonight. This last poem is I'm still working through it. I see the vision for it. I want to leave it here so that we have something to go home with. I think that's powerful. Why Colored Girls Tell Stories, after Liesl Mueller. And Liesl Mueller wrote a poem that was published like decades ago called Why We Tell Stories. And I was just like, okay, well, why do we tell stories? So that's what this is about. Why Colored Girls Tell Stories. We tell stories because we have to wake up to alarm clocks before we want to. Eat yellow box cereal in the morning and cup of noodles at night when the rent's due. Pray 5 times a day, be at church every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and still a house of worship ain't got room for our breakthroughs. We tell stories to get our bosses out of our asses and then pastors out from up our skirts. Let folks know that what our aunts and uncles did to our bodies made us hurt. To remind y'all that Keisha was too young and what she wore that night don't matter. That shit was never her fault. Stop giving voice to her attackers. We tell stories to converse with our ancestors, to click-cluck our colloquials and dialects into every space we gather, to bridge our mother tongues to American slang, create new ways to speak because we ain't afraid to do a thing. To honor our bodies and our ancestral homes, use our words to shape shift us into immortal flesh and bone. We tell stories. We tell stories because the moon still rises over slain bodies abandoned in the streets and white people still trying to gas us to sleep with minstrel shows trying to erase our know-how and our say-so. We tell stories to counter every statistic that denies that our existence justifies our divinity. You ask what divinity because you ain't trying to see every hair on our body defies gravity. We tell stories because broadcast news is more interested in our mugshots and the gunshots killing our babies in schools. And the miseducation of our children is their tool to accelerate our extinction, burying us in red tape, teachers labeling us mistakes, calling us out our names to keep their place in an imagined hero's journey. Plot twist, this is our story, and we too belong in this life. We tell stories to put our minds at ease when it'd be easier to wrap ourselves in a technicolored afterlife than live one more hellish day as a battered wife, a battered daughter, a battered sister. Just because you don't see the scars don't mean somebody didn't hit her. We tell stories to be the map to her loss, the road to her refuge, the treasure at the end of her rainbow. We tell stories to keep our minds on our business because we've learned that no one else will. And even if they do, they bound to extort, appropriate, or steal our stories, make our contribution permanent, etched in your eardrums, tattooed on your heart. So you can never say we weren't here, that we weren't a part. We tell stories because we learned to phoenix a living out of ash and dust, that no matter how hard you punch, we steady rise because the God in us we trust. We tell stories to leave a blueprint for our babies, to remind grown-ups that when you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, they just want to be loved, not maybe. We tell stories to transcend space and time, to destroy social constructs that warp and confine. We tell stories because our bellies deserve to heave in laughter. Because sometimes the beat of an angry drum, a march, or a raised fist doesn't make justice come faster. We tell stories to look back and know what we escaped, to celebrate the life we fashioned for ourselves on this blue marbled landscape, to remind us that the joy of that little girl inside us is what has always been at stake. We tell stories so y'all don't forget. Tell stories so y'all know we ain't finished yet. From New York to the Bay, Lagos to LA, down under and in between, watch us as we take step on this intergalactic scene and dubstep through this earthbound interlude. Show off the bodies we were taught to hide. Let our words marinate and magnify. Our joy be our guide. We tell stories because our success is not anomaly but prophecy. That in a future that outlasts our enemies, our stories will proclaim through all eternity the truth that so many have tried to resist. We exist. We exist. We exist. Thank you.
Welcome. We exist. Yes, we do.
We
Yes.
here. We do.
Yes. Everyone stay on when the credits roll so we can talk to you guys after the show. The Ebb and Flow is going to close us out like she always beautifully does.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us tonight here on the Poetry Corner West Side Connection. Thanks for everybody out in the world that is watching us tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe and meet us next week on the West Side. And we're signing out. Love and light.